Welcome everyone to a brand new comparison, this time featuring some of the best webcams on the market. If you're a new content creator looking to try something new in your life, or if you work from home and put a lot of value into having good video and audio quality, you've come to the right place. In this video, we will be looking at the OBSBOT Tiny 2, Insta360 Link, Elgato Facecam Pro, Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra, Logitech Brio, and the Opal C1. From comparing how they hold up in terms of video quality, to checking out the cool features on the two AI-powered cameras in the form of OBSBOT and Insta360, this is sure to be a blast. Let the facts speak. Let us quickly dive into the most important part of this comparison, the video quality. We checked out how these webcams perform in ideal lighting conditions as well as in low light environment. Starting off with the former, here we go. And ladies and gents, we will be starting off with the OBSBOT Tiny 2. The biggest surprise for me was how good the video quality of the OBSBOT Tiny 2 was, even though it's extremely small compared to the others. It's nice to know that bigger doesn't necessarily mean better like it often used to be in the past, as to get good hardware in the chassis, you almost always needed a bigger frame. This is the Logitech Brio. Probably the most famous webcam out there because simply of Logitech. The Logitech Brio wasn't amazing, but I would say that it's still decent. It also wouldn't be fair if I didn't tell you that it's actually half the price of the Razer and Elgato webcams, and this changes a lot, especially if you're looking for something that's not gonna burn a hole in your wallet. And this is the video along with the audio quality of the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra. I also really like the quality of the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra, as it is recommended by many to be a good replacement for a mirrorless camera because it has a huge sensor that is almost 1 inch. This makes the background blur out while the focus is on you. My only issue is that the camera is pretty big, as if the quality is similar, I'm mostly likely gonna go for a smaller model. We did have a big issue with the microphone echo though, which is most likely due to the funky software. And this one right here is the Insta360 Link. The Insta360 Link is performing similarly to the Tiny 2. Their software also helped them automatically keep everything bright and visible without having to play around too much with the settings, and I like the bright look that will most definitely make it easier for people who are not very involved with tech products. This is the only camera that doesn't have a mic built in. It personally doesn't affect me at all, but it's still an important detail to mention. I also like the quality of this camera, but it's even bulkier than the Razer. It has a lot of space inside the case for air to be able to get in, because this camera can also shoot at 60 frames. In fact, it is the first webcam to be able to do so. However, it's good to note that most people will never need 60 frames, so don't look at this as this incredible necessity. This one right here is the Opal C1. If you haven't heard of this brand before, the way that I personally heard of them was that MKBHD himself invested in this company. Lastly, I would like to apologize to MKBHD who invested in this company, but the Opal C1 is just subpar. I had issues with the webcam not focusing on me properly, and it took way longer to record their part since I had to play around with it and also sit very still for the focus to not fall off. Not only this, they're the only camera that is not compatible with Windows, which just happens to be the world's most popular operating system, so you should only get it if you own a Mac. No idea why they went down this road, but I hope it works out for them. Here's a visual of all the footage we have side by side so that you have an easier time comparing them in your own way. As I just told you, it's more beneficial to focus on the quality of the footage because factors such as the white balance and exposure can be toned depending on your own streaming or recording environments. Now it's time to check out the footage in very low light conditions. The OBSBOT Tiny 2 is looking pretty good considering the room was completely dark except for the lights right behind me. There is some amount of noise, which is to be expected, and I don't really have any complaints about this performance. The Logitech Brio, on the other hand, has slight issues. There is a significant amount of noise and the frame drop is pretty evident compared to the Tiny 2. The quality is still okay though, as it can't be classified as bad under these conditions. Turning down the brightness would also probably help out with these issues. As for the Opal C1, I'm just gonna chalk this up to this camera being a niche product for Mac users. cameras. There should at least be proficient software that brightens up the visuals when it is used at night, but it seems even though this is too much to ask right now. Razer though is paying dividends by having the largest sensor of all these webcams. The footage really looks like a mirrorless camera, although it is slightly dark, in which we would turn up the brightness to have better visuals, but it looks good even in these circumstances. The same can be said for Elgato minus the extra noise. It has the most detail in the shadows out of all of them, but this isn't really a necessary feature when you're using this camera in the dark, as you yourself just want to be visible. As for the Link, looking pretty good, but definitely has more noise and is darker than the OBSBOT Tiny 2. The reason for this is the smaller sensor, so make sure you have pretty good lighting when you use the Insta360 Link, as having a half-inch sensor isn't really that special, but the video quality is still looking good. A side-by-side look, just like how we did in the proper lighting scenario, is what you're going to be seeing on your screen right now. You can either pause the video or rewind it to get a better look, which will in the end help you to focus on the detailed differences between the footage. So, when it comes to features, you'll probably understand why the OBSBOT Tiny 2 and the Insta360 Link are way ahead of the competition. These two are just in a different category, as they can do much more than act as a regular webcam for streaming due to being powered by AI and having the ability to rotate close to 360 degrees. For example, one of the features I liked the most was the ability to track me walking around. There are different options for tracking on both of them, such as face, upper body, and whole body, but the OBSBOT Tiny 2 has even a few extra ones compared to the Insta360 Link, like headless and also lower body tracking. It was hilarious to watch the camera avoid my face when doing headless tracking, as if you jump into the frame and show your face, the camera immediately zooms in to avoid showing your face, and it does this very accurately, I might add. In general, the quality of the tracking software was very impressive, as even when I tried to exit the frame in a very quick manner, both the Link and the Tiny 2 were able to spin around very quickly to keep me on the screen. Besides this, both of them have hand gestures to interact with the cameras without having to fiddle around with the software, which is really useful. Opening up your palm makes the camera start tracking you, and doing the same movement again will make it stop. It's also possible to get the camera to zoom into you by making a finger gun, but obviously pointing it upwards or to the side. Doing the same while pulling your hand down will also get the camera to zoom out. It's also possible to have the camera zoom into you when you move further away to be able to keep the focus on you while you're giving a presentation, or maybe just walking around a room and talking to students or your colleagues. Besides this, there are two more super neat features. If you end up being at the office and have to give a presentation or show some things on a whiteboard to everyone in the call, you can have the camera stop tracking you and focus on the whiteboard while you leave the frame. What's especially impressive about this is that the OBSBOT Tiny 2 and the Insta360 Link can zoom into the whiteboard and adjust the focus automatically as soon as they realize what is in sight. The second work-related useful feature is the ability of the camera to look down and show everything that is on your desk. It's actually mind-boggling because the angle is so perfect, it looks like the camera is somehow sitting above your head and looking down, even though it's on top of the monitor. The image is also flipped around so that the contents of your desk actually look like your eyes are the camera, and the people in the call will be able to see your work from the same angle as you. I played around with this for a good half hour because it was just so interesting, and it just works flawlessly without any issues. There are also some beauty filter options on the Tiny 2 that can make you look pretty much how you want to look. I wouldn't go to the extreme with these, as you don't want to turn into an elf, or maybe you do, but in general, you can make your skin a little bit smoother and straighten out your wrinkles if you prefer. Last but not least, the OBSBOT Tiny 2 is going to earn my praise once again, because this webcam over here can do something that none of the others can do, and that is understanding voice commands. Here's a quick overlook. Hi Tiny. Zoom in closer. Zoom out further. Track me. Unlock me. Sleep, Tiny. Last on the list is design. I kinda talked about this a little during the video, but we still wanted to have a separate category to check out each and every one in more detail. The Link and the Tiny 2 are pretty similar, and both earn my praise once again for being extremely compact and flexible while maintaining exceptional video quality. The one big difference is that the OBSBOT's camera has a 33% larger sensor than the one on the Insta360 Link, which is half an inch. This can help out when the lighting isn't enough, as a larger sensor is able to absorb more light. As a minimalistic person, if I'm gonna be getting similar quality in the end, then I'd want to use the OBSBOT Tiny 2, which is around $329, as it overall has the most features and a decently sized sensor. The Link, on the other hand, costs a little bit less at $300. On the other side, I think the design of the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra sitting at $300 is really cool. It looks like a professional camera lens and has a larger sensor of them all. The downside is that it is quite large, can't move around, and is unfortunately tied to Razer Synapse, which is just terrible software. As a gamer, I love the design of Razer products, but I just can't stand their buggy software. Elgato has a massive camera, and I like the shape of it because it looks like a projector. That being said, even though I think the video quality is really good, if I'm gonna be buying something of this size, then I want the quality to be pristine. The sensor is also smaller than the Tiny 2, even though it's a huge camera, but it's also a really high quality Sony one, so ups and downs over here with a $300 price tag. Logitech is a brand that I'm a huge fan of, as all my gaming equipment is, well, Logitech. I love the C920 webcam that I've used for almost 10 years now, but when it comes to 4K quality and AI features, Logitech is nowhere to be seen. The Brio is quite an old webcam, and over half the list that we have will grant you better quality and features. The design is okay, doesn't look amazing, but doesn't look bad either. The most impressive part is the price, as a 4K camera from a brand such as Logitech being only $120 is quite appealing. Lastly, the Opal C1. I think that this camera has hands down the best design. It also feels really nice and is for sure a fashion statement. That being said, it's just not made for Windows, which is what pretty much every streamer, gamer, and YouTuber uses. I'm not a fan of the video quality either, it just doesn't match up to the price, which is around $300, as there are better options with more features around the same price. The final question: which camera ended up being your favorite, and if you could choose, which one would you buy? Do you value the AI implementations, or is a camera that just sits still good enough for you? If you were to ask us, we would recommend the Insta360 Link or the OBSBOT Tiny 2 simply because of the compact design, new and improved AI technology, and all the extra features. Check out the link in the description to get more information if you would like to purchase a webcam, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you around.